Welcome back to Porter-Pedia. I'm your host, and today we're doing a deep dive called Dancing Through Divorce, the untold story of gay divorce and night and day.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, it's a fascinating one today. We're going to unpack how this seemingly pretty light 1930s musical Gay Divorce somehow became the launching pad for what's arguably one of Cole Porter's deepest, most enduring songs, Night and Day.
Exactly. Our mission really is to trace that surprising journey. And as we dug into the sources for this, some really unexpected things popped up.
It really shows you how things aren't always what they seem on the surface. We'll get into how language changes, the sheer craft involved, and how, personal stuff can become universal.
Absolutely. So, okay, let's unpack this. That title, Gay Divorce, sounds one way today, right?
Yeah.
But in 1932, totally different meaning. And yet, out of that show comes this song of universal longing that we still feel. You're definitely in for some aha moments as we explore what our sources showed us.
So where did Gay Divorce even come from? Well, it turns out it started life not as a musical at all. It was an unproduced play by J. Hartley Manners. You might know him from Pig on My Heart.
Right. And the family connection is interesting, too, because it was his stepson, Dwight Taylor, who actually adapted that play into the musical's book.
Yeah, and Taylor was no slouch himself. He was a screenwriter, worked on other big Astaire-Rogers films later, like Top Hat, Follow the Fleet. He knew the territory.
But apparently that initial book,
Yeah,
it needed some work.
it seems so. That's where Kenneth Webb and Samuel Hoffenstein came in. Hoffenstein particularly was, wow, quite the craftsman with words.
Oh, yeah.
Poet, screenwriter, had this amazing knack for adaptation. Our sources mention how he transformed Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde for the screen by adding female characters, or with Laura turning this originally quite unpleasant character into the suave Clifton Webb role, we remember. Big changes.
That's some serious rewriting skill.
Yeah.
And Kenneth Webb, another key figure.
Yeah, no relation to Roy Webb, the composer, by the way. He started in silent films, writing scenarios, then had success as a playwright on Broadway. It's a solid team working on it.
Okay, so Manners' original play. What was the vibe? You mentioned it wasn't quite a musical yet.
It was described as a bedroom comedy, but apparently very polite about it. More about suggestion, infidelity happening in fancy hotel suites or boudoirs, not actual bedrooms. All very euphemized,
Got it. Keeping it classy, 1930s style.
Mm.
So how did Taylor's musical version change things up? What's the story?
Well, it's pretty fun, actually. You've got Guy Holden, played by Fred Astaire, who's this novelist. He falls, instantly for Mimi.
Okay.
But surprise, she's married, and she really wants a divorce from her, quote, boring husband. So her lawyer, who happens to be Guy's friend, cooks up this scheme.
Uh-oh. Schemes and comedies.
Exactly. The plan is to hire a fake correspondent, someone to be seen with Mimi to give grounds for the divorce.
Right, the classic staged infidelity.
But of course it goes wrong. Guy himself gets mistaken for this hired correspondent.
Naturally.
It all gets sorted out in a funny way, involving the husband actually being a professor leading a double life, who gets recognized by a waiter who's also an amateur geologist. Don't ask.
Uh-huh. Okay, sounds delightfully convoluted. So the musical's take on divorce was light?
Totally. Our sources call it a new take. No bitterness, no fighting over assets. Just stylish deception. Very bubbly, very buoyant.
Which brings us to that title word, gay.
Right. In 1932, in this context, it absolutely meant lighthearted, carefree, insouciant. You even see it in the lyrics. Lines like, feeling far from gay, or talk about a gayer set of people. It's unambiguous in the show.
But what's fascinating, like you said, is how language shifts. Porter himself, he must have known the word was starting to carry other meanings, right? Even back then.
It seems likely. Our sources point to later songs like Farming from 1941, where he writes about a bull being beautiful, but he's gay. That's clearly a double entendre.
So while Gay Divorce used the word innocently for its time, Porter, being Porter, was probably very aware of the evolving language. It adds this whole other layer when we look back, doesn't it?
It really does. Okay, so the show's taking shape, the book is improved, now they need their star, Fred Astaire. But getting him wasn't straightforward.
No, not at all. His sister Adele, his longtime dancing partner, had just gotten married, moved away. He was apparently feeling pretty insecure about going solo on stage.
Ah, makes sense. So how did Porter convince him?
With a song, of course. He played Astaire after Yoo-Hoo, and it was perfect. It just clicked with Astaire's unique style.
What was so unique about it?
Well, it suited what our sources call his musical parlando. That's like making singing sound like talking, but perfectly on pitch and in rhythm. Think Rex Harrison and My Fair Lady, maybe. Astaire had that quality.
Interesting comparison.
Yep.
And his voice itself.
It was stylish, Definitely sincere, but no big dramatics. A light baritone, kind of soothing, ethereal even, and very, very precise with his diction. Our sources note how he'd pronounce near, almost like Nia, just a hint of the R.
So, a unique stylist. The source says he was a singer only by necessity.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, the dancing was obviously paramount, but he delivered the songs with this unmistakable charm and precision.
And on Broadway, his partner wasn't Ginger Rogers yet, right?
Correct. It was Claire Luce. And she got great reviews. Brooks Atkinson at the time said she could match him step for step and glide over the furniture. High praise. Ginger, of course, came in for the film The Gay Divorcee.
Okay, so Gay Divorce the musical happens. But history hasn't been entirely kind to it, has it? Often called a one-song show.
That's the reputation, yeah, because that one song, Night and Day, is just
Yeah.
monumental. Arguably Porter's absolute finest, and definitely one of his most personal.
And we usually think of it as the ultimate love song, don't we? Pure romance.
That's the common take, for sure. It gets played at weddings, anniversaries. But when you dig into it, like our sources do, you find something maybe darker, or at least more complex.
Okay, tell me more. What did you find?
Well, the argument is that it's not really about love, not settled love anyway. It's about infatuation, obsession even. That kind of all-consuming feeling that, yeah, often gets mistaken for love. It's a crucial difference.
That gives it a whole different energy. So how does the music itself reflect that obsession?
This is where it gets really interesting, looking at the craft. The song uses this unusual structure, lots of repeated notes, one after another.
Yeah.
And that repetition, it mimics the feeling, right? That relentless quality of longing, the lover's torment. Think about the verse, like the beat, beat, beat of the tom-tom, like the tick-tack-tock of the stately clock, or like the drip, 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 drip of the raindrops, each sound repeated 3 times.
And then the inner voice mirrors that.
Exactly. When the jungle shadows fall, like the tick-tick-tock of the stately clock, like the drip, drip, drip of the raindrops when the summer storm is through. So a voice within me keeps repeating, you, you, you. It's that external world reflecting the internal fixation. Sheer craft.
Wow.
Our sources call it lime labor, the toil of the file, like a sculptor just polishing and polishing until it's perfect. It's that level of meticulous work. As Sondheim said, art isn't easy.
That level of detail is just incredible. It pulls you right into that obsessive mindset.
And Porter wasn't alone in using repeated notes like this for emotional punch. You hear it in opera, too. Think of Don Basilio's big aria about slander, La Calunnia, in Barber of Seville, or Rodolfo's Cagelida Manina in La Bohème. They use repetition on certain syllables or notes to really hammer home the feeling, even if it sounds different from normal speech. The music dictates the emotion.
And connecting this back to Porter, his background really played into this, didn't it? His classical education.
Absolutely. He studied Latin, he understood prosody, how accents and rhythms work in poetry, how they can differ from everyday speech. Like in Virgil's Aeneid, you might stress a word differently to fit the meter.
I see. So he knew how to bend the rules of pronunciation for musical effect.
Precisely. And he did it brilliantly in English. For rhyme or meter, he wasn't afraid to shift an accent. Our sources give examples like stressing lesbian and Anglican differently to rhyme with can, and can, or tweaking words, changing calved to caft to rhyme with George Raft.
And sometimes just for a laugh, right? Like the goosey example.
Yeah, classic Porter wit. Changing goose to goosey so the line ends, nobody's goosing me. A bit naughty, very clever. But the point is, even with this classical knowledge, his lyrics weren't rigid, like, say, a sonnet. He prioritized the rhythm, the feel, often varying meters within one song. It sounds conversational, but it's incredibly structured underneath.
So back to Night and Day. That structure, those repeated notes, what's the deeper meaning it creates?
Well, think about the title phrase itself, Night and Day. It starts and ends the main refrain. And musically, Porter sets those phrases identically.
Implying no difference between it.
It's a continuum, like time before creation, maybe. The outer world, the inner world, they just merge into this constant you. It creates this sense of torment, obsession, that only stops, the song implies, when the lover possesses the beloved. It's not casual night and day, it's profound night and day.
Wow. Okay, so hearing all that, it really does feel almost too intense, too deep for a light comedy like Gay Divorce.
That's the argument our sources make. It's too good for the show, in a way. The song's themes, this almost doomed, obsessive longing clash with the musical's bubbly tone, it really shines, they suggest, in a concert or cabaret setting, where you can just focus on that trip hammer intensity and the vivid imagery without the plot mechanics around it.
And then there's the personal angle, the alleged inspiration.
Right. The story goes that the song was inspired by Porter's affair with an architect, Edward Touch. described as a torturous relationship. If true, it offers this incredible insight into Porter's own state of mind, that intense longing, maybe even torment. Pouring that personal experience into the song gives it that almost painful authenticity.
It adds such a poignant layer. So how did this intense song actually land when performed in its original setting, especially in the movie? How did Astaire handle it?
Well, in the film The Gay Divorcee, Astaire's delivery is described as musical art deco. Very sleek, streamlined. He's playing an impeccably attired wooer, not some lovesick guy tearing his hair out.
So less obsession, more elegant pursuit.
Kind of. And importantly, in the film, the song isn't really the main event. It functions more as a prelude, an introduction to this absolutely breathtaking dance sequence with Ginger Rogers.
Ah, the dance takes over.
Completely. The dance becomes this elegant evocation of seduction and ecstatic consummation. It visually plays out the pursuit and capture.
How does the dance unfold?
It's beautiful. Astaire initiates. Rogers responds a bit coyly at first, then yields. They move together, then apart, gliding across this amazing black and white set. It culminates in this dizzying spin where she ends up in his arms. It's iconic.
It makes me think of that famous Katharine Hepburn quote about them.
Exactly. He gave her class and she gave him sex. Though, interestingly, our sources note that in this particular sequence, it feels more like Astaire is supplying the seductive power and Rogers is responding to it. It's quite charged.
Fascinating. So Astaire's film version is iconic, but tied to the dance. How did others interpret Night and Day? Sinatra, for example, he recorded it multiple times.
Yeah, Sinatra's journey with the song is really interesting. His first take, back in 1943 for the film Reveille with Beverly, is quite youthful. A chanson de coeur, a song from the heart. He often even skipped the introductory verse back then.
Okay, young Sinatra. What came next?
Fast forward to 1957, A Swingin' Affair. Totally different vibe. It's jaunty, almost reckless. He throws in slang, swaps darling for baby. Very much the mid-century swinger persona.
Right, fitting that era. But he wasn't done with it.
No. His definitive version, many would say, came in 1962 on Sinatra and Strings. Here, he goes back to Porter's original. He includes the verse, really pays attention to those repeated notes, that steady, obsessive beat. It's mature, measured, and incredibly powerful. He clearly respected the song's construction.
It shows a real evolution in his approach. Anyone else give a notable performance?
Yes. A really interesting one, less famous perhaps, is Deanna Durbin's version from the 1945 film Lady on a Train.
Deanna Durbin. She had a more operatic voice, right?
Exactly, a true lyric soprano. And she treated the song almost like an aria. Her phrasing is meticulous. Our sources compare it to famous arias like the Habanera from Carmen or Celeste Aida, which, interestingly, are also often performed without their intros, just like Night and Day frequently is. Her version really highlights the song's melodic beauty and structure.
So different styles, different eras, but the song itself holds up.
Absolutely. That's the point, really. Whether you know the original musical or the movie, the song itself has this powerful undertow, as our source puts it. It just grabs you. The fact that Durbin's 1945 take and Sinatra's 62 version still resonate proves its power transcends its origins.
What a journey. So, summing up, we started with this unproduced play, saw it become a light, frothy musical comedy called Gay Divorce.
Which, against the odds, gave us Night and Day, one of Cole Porter's absolute deepest, most complex, and masterful crafted songs. We've seen the layers of meaning, the incredible toil of the file in its construction, and how different artists kept finding new things in it.
Understanding that meticulous craft and maybe even the personal pain behind it, it really does change how you hear it, doesn't it? It elevates it beyond just a standard.
It really underscores how something profound can emerge even from, well, a musical confection. It speaks volumes about Porter's genius.
So, here's something to think about. Does knowing about the hard work, the limey labor, and the possible private struggles that fueled a song like Night and Day change what it means to you? Or does its universal appeal, that feeling of obsessive longing, just exist on its own regardless of how it came to be? Maybe give Night and Day another listen with all this in mind. See what resonates differently for you this time.